Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. We all like to get a good deal, but how to do so is often not obvious. Here are some thoughts on how to get an edge in life's major categories: work, relationships, purchases, physical health, mental health, and overall in life. Let's start with work. Your best chance at a good deal is to cast a wide net in looking for a job, and then to ask vetting questions during the interview and before accepting the job. Read what employees say on Glassdoor.com and elsewhere on the net. In interviews, ask questions such as, why did the incumbent leave? Or, all bosses are different, in what ways are you? If it's a group interview, when you've asked that question, observe the other interviewer's subtle face changes in response to the boss's answer. Also, when offered the job, ask to come in to discuss terms. Not only does that convey that you plan to take the negotiation seriously, it allows you to observe the vibe in the office and, in the break room, to ask questions of coworkers such as, I've been offered a job here. What should I know about working here that might not appear in the official handbook? They may say little, but do observe their facial expression and tone. An enthusiastic, it's good, is very different from a flat, it's good. Let's turn to relationships. Again, an ounce of prevention is worth, yes, a pound of cure. I offer a report card on relationships, so Google relationship report cards and Nemko and you'll find it. That may help you retain a measure of objectivity amid the swoon of infatuation or of feeling pressure to take the traditional next step, get married. With friends and relatives, the core question is my life better with this person in my life? And if so, to what extent and in what context? For example, you may enjoy a semi-annual hike with the person, but more than that ends up yielding more trouble than it's worth. Now let's turn to purchases. The average consumer overpays for homes, cars, jewelry, clothes, restaurant, nearly everything. You want to get a more detailed look at getting the most of from your money from those things and other things. I wrote an article called 7 Money Tips for Smart People. If you Google that, you'll find it, 7 Money Tips for Smart People. But the macro point is that high status items usually cost much more than they're worth, not just in money, but in financial freedom to pursue the work you want, even if it happens to not be lucrative, as is in the case, for example, with many creative careers. Unless you're made of money, the usual sweet spot is in the mid-priced items. That's largely because that's what most people buy, and so the competition among sellers and manufacturers is greatest there. In addition, because mid-priced items of mainstream brands like Toyota, Sony, Whirlpool, because they yield the company the most total revenue, they can afford to hire the best creators because the cost of those creators is amortized across huge numbers of purchasers. Now let's turn to physical health. This year's fad is often next year's fade. One year, dietary cholesterol is the devil. The next year, they say it has little impact. One year, they urge carbs over protein. Next year, protein, like keto diets, over carbs. One year, they urge baby aspirin to prevent heart attacks. Now they say, never mind. One year, they exhort us to exercise vigorously for 20 minutes, 3 days a week. Now it's moderately for 45 minutes, 5 or 6 days a week. Of course, there is no certitude, but you'll likely get an edge, a good deal relative to others, by opting for moderation. For example, regarding diet, I like Michael Pollan's recommendation. Eat real food, not too much, mostly plants, and an occasional cheat won't kill you. Now let's turn to mental health. Within a fairly wide range from average, self-acceptance may be best. We're all a little more or less anxious, more or less sad, more or less distractible, more or less intense, more or less hyper. Psychological help, alas, is still at a stage where a pill or even psychotherapy typically can tweak us, but not remake us, not remake our foundational selves. So, unless you're in significant distress, it's normally wise to accept your basic self and tweak around the edges, especially putting yourself in situations and with people who bring out the best in you. If you need help, start by upping exercise, staying busy, helping others, and feeling grateful. Need more than that? Try an app like Woebot, that's Woebot, or Sanvello, Sanvello, used to be called Pacifica. Need more than that? Try a short course of cognitive behavioral therapy with a highly rated practitioner. Of course, more severe cases may require pharmacological help, or even more, for example, electroconvulsive therapy and or deep brain stimulation for severe depression. And about overall life, here again, acceptance and gratitude, plus moderate striving, are normally best. But alas, those are easier to urge than to do. The good news is that trying those is free and doesn't have any side effects. It's motivating and feels good to get a good deal on almost anything. Is there one, maybe even more tips in this little talk that you would like to try to give yourself an edge? Anyway, I thank you for watching. Feel free to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you deem appropriate. Comment, share, hit the share button, social media share, subscribe. But in any event, I do appreciate you watching. I am Marty Nemko.